Good day and welcome to another edition of Insight, kind of a history-making insight for the first time, if you may. Our guest who was here a week removed is here again today because we figure her story was not told the last time outing. And here we are to hear from her. A very special guest. She has taught the world through a book. It's called Broken Wings. Broken Wings. A must read if you may. And you will find out the reason why. We're happy to invite, and re-invite and invite again Ms. Marcia Skervin to the program. She came and she was talking up a shop about the role of BH into Walk for the Cure, and the cure being the cure for cancer. And lo and behold, her story became bigger than the show, because she, just over a year ago, got that sentence of, you have cancer. And her life has just been something else. And she shared it in her book. Certain things she didn't even have to share, she shared it. And here we are to interrogate her some more. And I want to say a pleasant day to you.
Thank you.
You have lived that anniversary. You're a survivor, a warrior, all kind of
Thriver.
names. Yes. But let's get down to brass tacks. You have written a book about your escapade, if you may. Why?
One of the things that caught me when I heard the first diagnosis, I heard the big C, I heard the word. It took every sail, every wind out of me. Making the decision, going through who to tell, what to do, those things plagued me for a good 2 weeks. And I recognized that the fact of the matter is I was diagnosed, something is happening, and I needed to make some calls. I was not sure how to go about it. I was not sure how to feel. I wasn't sure how to respond. I was just in a tailspin pretty much. But I had something to do. And undoing, unmoving, in action, I thought, how many persons like myself is at this point and they are just confused, they're just emotionally a mess. And how do they move past being a mess? How much mothers? How much single parent? How much this? And I just had a lot of questions. And I said to myself, no, I have to document this. I have to speak about it so that persons can understand that there is a terminal illness, if you may, but there is a way around.
Yes. Help me, let me take on the book part first, because it's important that we get a lot of sales. Yes?
Absolutely.
Broken Wings by Marcia. Marcia?
Yes.
Skervin. What did it take for you to put out this book? When did you start writing it? Give me the pay. Were you a publisher?
I self-published, and I was on my back recovering. And I spoke to my daughter about it because she's the one who did the book design and did the artwork in the book. So kudos to my daughter,
Call her name.
Christina James, who is a social media manager as well. She's an absolute darling. And she was the one who came up with the whole schematic of the book, the color, the whole, everything inside of the book. But when I was writing the book, she said to me, okay, you can't type, because being someone who just recovering from surgery, I couldn't move my hand.
Yes.
So I was on my back. And she said, you know what? Put your thoughts into words and I'll get someone to type it up for you. And she got her friend who had a journalism degree out of school, and I must say, Jeremy. He started jotting down everything that I wanted to deliver. And he would come back to me and said, is this what you want to convey? And, coming back to getting my word out, because I literally could not do anything for myself. But on the recovery bed, I sat and I started to pen, and it became very clear, because it was not just about cancer. It was about recovering. It was about support. It was about finances. It was about a mental dexterity. It was so much things that came into play. My faith, because I was like, why me? I mean, I'm doing social work in Jamaica from I'm 18. I'm doing outreach. I'm doing youth at risk. Why me? I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do this. I don't have a flamboyant lifestyle. And I'm like, but why me?
Yeah.
So it challenged the every core of my being, both spiritually and mentally.
Yes. All right, we're going to drill down on the book before we get into the fabulous story that you have. And that's fabulous in quotes, of course. So you had someone show your daughter's instrumentality of getting your thoughts to paper.
Yes.
How long did that take?
Let me tell you, it's the fastest book ever, because it's the fastest book ever. And I tell you, sometimes when things are divinely organized and divinely so, it came together so wonderful. In 2 months, I was home for 2 months. In 2 months, the book was, we started editing. My daughter went through first edit. She went through, we read it. And in less than 3 months, the book was ready. We went back and forth with the printer to get the print right, to get the font right, because it was an easy read, and we didn't want it to be distracting. So we had to have the layout. Taylor Consulting was an input also, because they gave me some insight in terms of font and editing. They didn't want it to throw off the persons who read it.
Yes.
So it was a lot, but everything came together in less than 6 months.
Yes, and came to 6 months. The book is ready. Help us non-writers.
So
what do you do? What is the process here?
So the book is ready, and of course, it's my first major book. I did a book of poetry, and I self-published that. Of course, it's an unknown writer, so to go to publishing, it was a little task, because persons, we only published a person who had first book already, and it was a task. I didn't get a local publisher, and somebody said to me, you don't need to have a local publisher. Go self-publish it. You have something to say, go self-publish it. I went online. I did some research. I found Create Space. I went on it. It said upload, and I went on that process, and the book is there.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Yes. What's the reception been like for the book?
Oh my
about
God.
your story?
It's absolutely overwhelming. It's phenomenal, because the thing is, cancer is such a hush-hush in quarters. And it's something that people really don't want to talk about.
Yes, in case you get it.
Yes,
Yes,
we
don't
don't want to catch it. It's like the common cold.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be going out and telling people that you had this surgery done, you're suffering, you're having this illness? Why are you so happy about it? You just seem like you're overwhelmed and joyous about it. But the truth is, it is a topic that is not, it's a taboo.
Yes.
And for me to come out and talk about my experiences and talk about the book and talk about the illness that has ravished several families in Jamaica and still continue to do so, it was a bold step. And so persons were very receptive. They went out, my friends supported, my persons who I did not know bought the book. They tagged me on Facebook, they tagged me on Instagram, and they bought the book.
I just became your friend,
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And one of the things that drives me is that they said it's not just about cancer. And that's the thing. The book really talks about challenges, not just health.
Yes. I mean, I wonder if my cameraman can pick up this book, because it's important that we know it's called The Broken Wings. It says, surviving cancer and learning to soar again. No, I just like that. I like that, learning how to soar. Because I'm going to tell you what my takeaways are from this book, because it's important that, as you rightfully say, it's not just about cancer. You can apply this almost like a template to serious decisions you have to make in life.
Absolutely.
So you have provided us, and for that we are grateful, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Because we have to. So where is it available?
All right, so it is available York Pharmacy, Half a Tree, Bookophelia, Hope Road, and Fontana Barbican is in the process of restocking. Go Fontana! So make sure you restock. So those 3 outlets did me good. They facilitate a new writer. They were very courteous. I really appreciate. And the book went. It just literally went.
Yes. I don't hear you say a certain place where you can get it Amazon?
Amazon Kindle,
come on.
of course.
Can't be
For
talking
all
about
my
self-pub.
international and everything, it's definitely on Amazon Kindle. So you can also get it.
What
if
kind
you-
of price?
So the price on Amazon is about $10. The price on Amazon Kindle is about
10
$10
US dollars,
$10
we're
US
talking.
dollars
Yes.
for that.
Yeah, and
and the
it's-
book itself locally retails for about between $2.5. Different pharmacy add their little extra, but
Yeah.
it doesn't pass $2.5 on a whole for that book.
How the sales going? Is there a...
The sales are phenomenal, and I can't thank persons enough. And I guess because I love to talk. I remember my mother, God bless her soul, she'd just say, you love to talk, and I get paid to talk now, which is good. so it's fabulous, and I promote it. And because I have a genuine love for people, I have a genuine love to see people, get to their best self. So whether it's a challenge or whether it's a life challenge or any kind of challenge, I'm always talking about it, and it leads around to something. So they're always like, where can I get this? Because you must have a book. Oh yeah, I have a book. So it's really about cancer, but you know what? You can apply it to any areas of your life, really.
Yes. I'm sure that one of the questions you asked, it tested your faith.
Oh,
And you asked why.
I did.
Did you get the answer?
I did get the answer. There's a part in the book that spoke to even trying to come into terms to what had happened, what has happened. I went into my car and I cried 3 hours uninterrupted. This was 3:00 in the morning when all my kids were asleep. And I said, yes, I can finally let down my guard because they're all asleep and nobody's seeing me. Yes. So I went into my car and I cried 3 hours uninterruptedly. And I said to myself in that moment, and I asked God, why me? Because I thought I was doing everything right. I thought I was doing, on a trajectory to go to somewhere that I needed to go. Why no? And that's the reason why I have the name Broken Wings, because my wings were clipped. My wings were broken. Yes. How would I learn to soar again after this? And why did you put me in this position? Because I lost a mother, I lost a father, I lost a brother to this. How could I be in the line again to fight this ugly disease?
Yes, I'm gonna make you continue when we come back, because I have the answer to why not. And I'm hearing you say why not, because it was preparing you for a certain place.
Absolutely.
Our special guest, Marcia Skervin, cancer survivor, author, and certainly inspirational. We'll be right back on Insight.
Asking that question made me pause and reflect on my 3 biggest reasons for remaining positive. My children, Christina, the eldest, is in her 20s, Malik, my teenager, and Mackenzie, my toddler. They became the source of most of my positivity and my beacons of light in a very dark time. I also began to recognize the opportunity I had been given to connect with God and rekindle a sense of spirituality to keep me grounded as I embarked on this journey. Allowing myself to be present and to let go of the things and thoughts that do not serve me for my greater good allowed me to begin healing from within. Forgiving and releasing were the greatest medicines of all.
And the person you hear reading, her name is Marcia Skervin. She wrote the book she's reading from, Broken Wings. She's a cancer survivor, and she's looking at the reason for holding on and being positive, or 3 little nuggets. And let's start from the beginning, and certainly it's almost the beginning of your book.
Absolutely.
Breathe. You use breathing as a very critical point. Yes. You sat in that office last year, July?
Last year, July.
Last year, July.
Yes.
You were journeying take me from the journey to the doctor's office, and what happened. You take the show from here.
So I ever since I turned 40, I believed in mammogram and self-check. I've been doing self-check for years. And this is reason because I lost my mom to breast cancer that metastasized. And I lost my father to prostate cancer. So I've always, believed in self-check. I've always believed in being very meticulous about health. And so every year I would do a mammogram, but I also would self-check in the morning. So I self-check in the morning when I'm going out, and I self-check when I shower in the evening when I'm going to bed. So that's how religious I was. I self-checked. And so in the night, I remember the 17th of May, because I had it documented. The 17th of May, one night, that night I felt a lump. And I felt the lump, and something deep in my core said to me, this should not be there. And when I felt it, I went into the bathroom and I looked into the mirror and I looked at myself. And I sighed. I remember sighing because I'm like, that shouldn't be there. I was scheduled to do the mammogram the following week, but I opted to push it up because now I felt something and I wanted to action. So I went to Jamaica Cancer Society to do the mammogram. At the time, I was too early. The technician was not at work. And I did not want to wait. So I said to them, you know what, just give me the paper and I'll just do it privately. And so I got the paper. I went to do it. That was the following day I went. The results were not clear. I got it. They said something. I went to another doctor. His opinion was, say, you can redo this in 6 months. I didn't feel right to wait 6 months.
For someone who was always
I didn't
morning,
feel right.
noon, and night.
Absolutely.
And we have a picture there of self-examination on the screen there. You go and you
feel. And, after that, I got another ultrasound. They were still not certain, but then it came to a point that they wanted to do a biopsy because obviously something was seen on the images. And the only way they could detect what it was really to do a biopsy.
That means go and take a little snippet and run it in the lab and look at the cells.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is where now, the date that I got for the biopsy was in September. Now I did my surgery August, and this is where you have to have a resilient spirit. You have to come on, and sometimes our health sector is so overwhelmed and overburdened because when you want the dates to do diagnostic tests, sometimes you have to wait so long.
Yes.
Especially with persons with critical illness, it is really not in their best interest to be waiting so long. I had great doctors. I have to really say thank you to Dr. Patrick Borising and the R. Scott. I mean, they were absolutely amazing. I got, they were on top of it. They got me going. I went in, I did the biopsy. I got my result in 2 weeks. And everybody was just there as a support team. This is what it is.
All right, Miss Marcia. I'm bringing you back on track, You're on your way to the doctor. And you sit down because your first chapter says that you couldn't breathe.
All right. So when I got the news, and I say we because one of the things in my book is always bring someone with you. Sometimes we always say, Marcia, you always bring. No, I do it because sometimes it's an opportunity to either capture the moment or to hear something that I didn't hear. Yes. Because I brought a friend with me the day when I was getting the result. I was a mess.
Bring me that moment.
I didn't drive because I couldn't drive. I could not focus. I wear glasses. I needed about 5 glasses to focus.
Wow.
I could not drive. I couldn't think. My head was in a tailspin. I brought a friend with me because I knew every information would be flying over my head. And when I sat into the doctor's chair and he started reeling, the only thing I heard was, you have cancer. And then I started to feel the room spin. I started to feel so overwhelmed. I started to feel hot. I started to, I was just in every emotion, denial, blame. Everything came into bear. It was so overwhelming. I literally sat, he spoke. I saw his mouth moving. And I just did not capture what he was saying. He had to repeat. Are you hearing me? Are you understanding? Are you hearing me? And I'm, yes. I don't think so.
Gosh.
Because it was so much. And when he was done, he was patient enough to realize that this news is overwhelming. Because the only thing I thought about is, oh, my mom died 4 years ago. I remember the suffering my father had. And I lost a brother from colon cancer. And I'm like, oh my goodness, death. I'm just thinking it was so much to bear. I literally was overwhelmed.
And the question you asked at the break, we were entertaining it, is why me? I've lived well, I've done well, but not by works. They said a man should boast. We're reminded of that.
Amen.
But the question that I like to challenge people with is why not me?
Absolutely.
Because I tell you why. If it's why me, then it means you would be comfortable with it happening to someone else. And
Absolutely.
And the statistics show, and we had Ms. Gordon here from the Cancer Society telling us the amount of new cancer cases every year.
That's right.
And so therefore we don't really escape it. So why not me?
Absolutely.
Why not me? And you now know the answer, right?
Absolutely. And I mentioned a little thing of it in my book. When I thought about it and I challenged and I asked and I questioned, that response came to me, why not you? Because if why not you? Should it be somebody else? Why should it be them?
That's right.
And another thing came to mind is that I constantly am on a platform speaking inspirational, speaking motivational. And why not? Because you need a story. And the answer came, you need a story. You need to inspire. You need to have a story. It needs to be authentic so that persons can understand and be aware of what to do.
So you stopped your breath, then you started breathing again.
I started breathing normally again. I took a few sharp breaths because, of course, I was holding it for a while. And then I started to, process everything. I started to feel regularized. I started to just, take some deep breath. I remember standing for a bit and stretching. And it's okay to be odd. It's okay to be, out of wits. And these are some of the things that the book speak of. It's okay to be outside the norm because nobody knows how you're going to respond to any news at all. So it's okay. I have a personal question for you.
Because I want to know how your children dealt with it.
Okay.
You shared some personal matters because while you were going through this diagnosis, while you realized you had cancer, you were fighting a case in court. You're a victim of domestic abuse, but yet you told us that story.
Yes.
You let us in, and why? What did your kids say? Because they knew of the book was coming.
Yeah, they knew.
And so what your daughter, who was inspiring, to say, "Mommy, you have to go there."
One of the things that before the world knows, the persons at your home knows. You know what I mean? And so this journey started way before the book was published. My children went on a journey with me. They were in the trenches with me. I spoke to them about it. I sought their feelings on it. I sought what they thought about it, how they would react to it, what they thought that I should do about it. And I got their input because having a 24-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old son, those persons have their own identity. They are no individuals. And whatever I put out there is a remnant of them, and it will have implications on them. They were supportive of it because they too, like myself, have been, when I go to battered woman and youth at risk, I've always taken my children with me. So they were out in the social arena of Jamaica a long time ago. So they know the input and the importance of speaking out. They know the importance of getting out the word, and they know the importance of self-worth. And so as a young woman coming up, I had to demonstrate it to her. Even if I thought that something should not have happened, it means that I have to take a stand for her to see that at no time that it's okay for someone to physically put them hand on you. It's not okay, even if we're having a disagreement, for us to communicate like that. It's not okay. So I had to be that matriarch that set the tone for them to understand and for my son to realize that this is not how normal people operate.
Yes, you speak of forgiveness.
I do.
That part of you that you couldn't heal unless you forgave. You're forgiven this man?
I have, because you see, the thing is, and this is such an unusual thing, because everybody behaves as best as they know how to behave. They behave as best as they were cultured to behave. They behave as best as they were socialized to behave. Right. What is operating or occurring to them, they're going to act it out accordingly. Yes. And sometimes we have to take ourselves out of the equation and recognize that we are two responsible parties and communication goes both ways. And so because I took ownership of the situation as well, and because I recognize that in the midst of something, it's a regular occurrence, persons who are in relationships sometimes do not understand how to mitigate conflict. Mm-hmm. They don't understand how to communicate on a side that says it's okay, you have your opinion, I have mine, but it's okay. We're not in the cultural part where we learn to be respectful of each other because of how we were socialized. And so I understood that to be the occurrence that was happening. Mm-hmm. And it for me, it solidified what I wanted for myself and what I understood it to be. And so for me to forgive, I had to understand the place and
Has he
time.
accepted the forgiveness?
I really don't know, but I don't know, because we do communicate very well now. So and that's so funny. We have moved past where we were to a better place now. And I think we have both recognized that something terrible happened. Yes. Whether we want to admit or not, something occurred that has caused us to be in that place. Yes. And so if we're adults enough, whether we want to share our forgiveness story or accept each other's apology, we recognize that where we were, we should not have been there in the first place.
Fighting two wars simultaneously. And here how the lady is victorious on both fronts. It's not easy when you're fighting and then another flank you have to fight. But here we are, enjoying our story, enjoying our template according to our book, Broken Wings. We'll be right back on Insight. Welcome back to Insight today. We continue with the discussion about cancer. And our special guest, Marcia Skervin.
But I was told chemotherapy was a good completion to the process.
Yes.
I thought about it. I mean, when persons heard about chemotherapy, they said chemo kills more than cancer. I've heard the stories. If I listened to every story, I probably would have not gone and done anything. Some persons brought bush literally to my house, mm-hmm. and they say, you know what, just take this. This will work. Mm-hmm. So I said, how much, when? 3 times a day? How much bush should I take, when, and how? How do you take that? What's the dosage? So I had so much concern, and I mean genuine concern, and everybody had a cure. Some person said baking soda and molasses. Everybody knew something. But you know what? I had to just do what's best for me. Yes. I opted to go with chemo. I did the chemo. I lost my hair. I lost eyebrow. I lost eyelashes. I went down from 140 to about 90 pounds. I went down, I lost weight, but I still stand by that decision that I made. I still stand by it because at the end of the day, nobody knew if there was a cure, then we'll all have the cure.
Yes,
so,
yes,
we keep walking and talking about the cure, but if it exists, I don't know. So I have to try something.
Yes, indeed.
And I want to try from persons who have the experience.
Yes. What was the chemotherapy treatment like? How long did you do it for, and how did it make you feel? I've often heard about that.
I did 4 cycles of it, and that was, I think, every 2 weeks, I think. I did every Tuesday, every 2 weeks. And if I can remember, I think it was TC for my cancer, because there are various chemotherapy cocktail.
Yes.
The first time I took chemotherapy, let me tell you something, when they say it's dangerous, they have something to say about it, because you have to be able to restrain all the things that's happening to your body. When I first got that infusion, I felt my face felt so flush, like it was on fire. My skin was literally on fire.
Your
And
feet?
everywhere was like it was on fire. That first moment that something new is coming into your body. And it was a lot. The first and the second infusion, I started to lose my hair. I started to feeling so fatigued I could not eat. But the trick about it is that it doesn't allow you to eat. What I find about myself, because I had no taste in my mouth, and I had to just mentally say, this is good, even though it tastes like cardboard. So if I followed the taste, I wouldn't have the nutrition. So I had to just forego taste and just think about nutrition when I ate.
It's amazing how smell and taste is
Everything
critical
was
to
off.
eating.
I got sick with certain smell. I felt fatigue. I was still going to work, and it was so good that when I did
You were still going to work?
I was, because I came back off my sick leave. I went, started in October when I had to return to work, and then I had a chemo session. So when it started Tuesday, the good thing about it is that 3 days after, I'd started feeling weak, and that would take me on the weekends. So my weekends were in bed. My weekends were literally in bed resting because I just did not have the energy to get up. And then on Monday, I started to feel a little better, and I would go out to work.
So after the cycles, as you have it with the chemotherapy, when did you start feeling good again?
My chemo ended December 2018. And I remember it actually ended the 31st of December. They had to open the office for me to come in to finish the last cycle because it was a holiday and they were closing. And I remember I said to myself, this is my New Year's gift. I am done with chemo. I am now having my life now to just start moving from there. And I never started feeling stronger until about February, March of this year.
This year?
Yeah.
This year, no, folks.
This year.
You're so girly. I tell you why I say that. You got into, naturally, what most women get into after they've removed their breasts. Or even before they remove their breasts. They're so protective of it. Because if you ever seen a woman run in a naked room,
Yes.
the last thing she covers is her breasts. Yes?
Absolutely.
So it's that thing. And then you opined and you wondered, what would it be like for your next prospective, I think that's a word you used, your next prospective person who will perhaps look at you as gorgeous as you are and want to hold you and lie close to you. How was that?
That is something that I thought about. I'm not sure if I should say it's a good thing, but it's a good thing that I was single when I was going through this, meaning that I didn't have a spouse who would have had a wife or to have a breast and then lose it, because it would have affected them too.
That's right.
So that was a blessing. But going into dating and the process of dating, that's scary. And to date, it is a scary thing because you don't know when to start this conversation. How do you ever start a conversation like this? It's scary. How do you go about talking about issues that are affecting you in a real time? There are several scars all over. There is the reconstructive, there is the breast, there is, there's a lot of things that have happened to this body in a year. Men are visual.
Yes.
That's a reality.
Yes.
So it comes to bear that it challenged who you are as a person. As attractive as you feel, there is some part of you that feeling less attractive. So you have to work on that.
Yes.
So it's a challenge.
Yes. I will have to do an update sometime on that part of the challenge. But we're going to take another break from, is it time for the break as yet? No? Not? Yes, I got to, because I just want to be sure that I can get into the fasting. Who to tell?
Yes.
Because it's almost a segue, can I tell this cute guy that, or who to tell? I found that a very interesting thing. When you learned you had it, and even now, and you're telling the world,
Yes.
and that's fine.
Yes.
But who to tell? You dedicated a chapter to that.
I dedicated a chapter to this particularly because going through finding out at that particular moment who to tell was very important. Who to tell determines how well you're going to continue. Because sometimes you tell persons and they've already pronounced you dead. And who to tell, sometimes you tell persons and they encourage, they check on you, they're the greatest supporter, the cheerleaders. And so who to tell is very critical at that fragile moment because you're in this fragile state. And if you tell somebody who does not understand, somebody who never experienced this, somebody who cannot relate in terms of giving you hope and allowing you to even have hope for yourself, then that's important. I have gotten, I've lost friendship who I thought was friends because of this. Some persons, they start revealing themselves. And it's just life dynamic playing out. I've gained some wonderful friendship. I've forged some great alliances. I've gotten a new appreciation for people and different circumstances. And through who I told about it, I recognize that it is important not to speak much about it in the early stage. And that's why persons would say, they had cancer and nobody knew about it. It's a hush hush and they don't tell anybody because it's secret. It's not that cancer patients want to keep it secret, but they have to. They are trying to figure out what is happening to them. They are trying to process what is happening to them. For me to tell you, the first questions that come is, okay, where did you find it? What stage it is? You start asking a lot of clarifying questions that I'm not ready to answer because I've not processed that feeling yet.
That's the delay, but
exactly.
You determine that you're going to tell?
I determine after I've processed it, after I've spoken to my inner tribe, that I wanted to get this word out. I wanted it because I was too... And because of the experiences with my parents, we didn't understand what it meant even though they died of cancer. I don't think we really grasped what was happening. We heard, my father had prostate. We didn't know until it was way in advance because he didn't tell. You understand?
But guess what? We're going to take another break from Insight. And when we come back, she's going to tell us exactly who she is and what really prepared her for this. We'll be right back on Insight. Welcome back to Insight. Marcia Skervin, our special guest. Cancer survivor. More than that, she's left us a template with her book, Broken Wings, a must read. But I want to get to know who she is. Who is Marcia Skervin? Where was she born? To whom was she born? Where was she born? I mean, so I'm giving you back so I can just shut up and just listen.
That's an extraordinary story. So I was born in St. Catherine. My parents returned to Jamaica in the 70s. And from England. And
Windrush.
Yes, she was 7 months pregnant when she came. She did not plan to stay. She planned to get her real estate in order and went back. And she spent a month, 2 months extra. And I was born in St. Catherine. Spent a day there for birth. And I reside in Kingston ever since.
Yes. And you have other siblings? What your mother did, what your father did?
My father was a mechanic. My mother was a homemaker. She didn't work at all because she was very concerned.
No, don't say that.
She didn't work outside of the home.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Clarifying. Right, because she worked very hard. She is someone who instilled a lot of values in her children. I was the only child that was born in Jamaica. All my other siblings were born in UK.
How many siblings?
4 others.
Yes.
And so all my relatives, everybody is UK. I'm the Jamaican baby.
Yeah,
yes, I'm the Jamaican baby.
You're the last
I'm the last child who was born in Jamaica. Yes.
Okay.
So
wash belly.
I'm the wash belly.
Love child.
Yes. I'm the Jamaican. And I think that has propelled me too because I'm the only person who was born in Jamaica. I said to myself when I was going to school, I went to Excelsior High School, and I said to myself that if I'm going to live in Jamaica, I need to make sure that I put my input, I put my voice in a Jamaica that I want to raise children and live in, because I am going to be living here. And I think I made that decision very early. And that was what propelled me into social reach. I worked with WMW Outreach, Rise Life. I went to Women's Center, did a lot of outreach. I talked to teenage pregnancy, children who got pregnant early, motivated them, did workshops with them, just to get them to their best self. I've been doing that for over 20 years. I got JP when I was young. I was appointed a Justice of the Peace, very young, in a time when, persons were used to persons more aged.
Yes.
I got that opportunity to serve, and I've always liked serving because I think it's a part of changing the landscape in Jamaica. Yes. And so I got to do that. Then I went into human resources. And that,
I like your story.
Yes.
She's from HR.
Yes,
she'll tell us what she wants us to hear.
had a love for it.
After you were born here,
yes,
you moved to Kingston. What section of Kingston? What?
Kingston 20.
Kingston 20. Then you went to which primary school?
Excelsior Primary. I'm a full-bred Excelsorian. Excelsior Primary, Excelsior High. So when you talk about Aggie Animal, I am that.
What does Aggie Animal mean?
You're putting me on the spot now, but it means that really, Aggie Animal means that you're just above everything else.
Okay, you sound like Calabar, almost the
Yeah,
highest.
well, my son went to Calabar.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
There's some
so
saving
cool.
grace here.
Yes.
Tribalism. So you went to Aggie.
Yes,
What
I went to
happened after
Excelsior.
Aggie?
All right, so I went to Excelsior, and I came out of school. I came out of school with less CXC than expected. I did not get all the CXC, and frankly, I was not even that focused in high school, to be truthful. When I came out of high school, I had my child at 21. So within that gap year, I was just, floating around, not even sure what I really wanted to do. When I had my child at 21, immediately all focus, everything came into sharp focus. I knew I had to now get my act together and really start doing something. My parents didn't have the money to send me to the traditional college. And I was determined to do stuff for myself in terms of not just sitting down waiting for handout or just saying, boy, the country has no opportunities. I went to Stony Hill Heart Academy. And at the time when I went there, they were doing a pilot program. And I remember I went there to learn some administrative stuff, and I went there to learn secretarial courses. And one of the teachers say, I think you have so much potential. A person seeing something that you haven't seen in yourself. And I was placed in an employment. And when I was placed in that employment, I can call a name now, that company no longer exists, CCS Jamaica. I got placed into that company. And let me tell you something, I only wanted my foot in the door. I worked very hard. I was professional. I learned everything. I asked questions. And when I left that company, I was an HR officer. So I went in as a heart trainee, and I came out as an HR officer, knew HR, knew the law, knew how people's skills relate, knew everything. And I had a great manager. Her name was Geraldine Wright. She was not afraid to teach.
Geraldine Wright.
Yes.
Well, I know someone in the journalism business.
Yes, and Carlton Samuels was a good mentor as well, because those persons were not afraid to share knowledge. They were not afraid to say, put you up. I went to the seminars, I went to the trade show, I went to, got training, and that was a starting point for me. I didn't get much. It was not even about money. I was just so focused on building something that I could be proud of and that I could start earning later, because I thought if I sow the seed now, I'm certain there should be a reward at the end of this tenure.
That 21-year-old at that stage focused you. You just focused your lens.
Everything just got into sharp focus.
And she's focusing you now.
And absolutely, she has done a great job on that. And let me tell you something, my journey has been such. I have been with a lot of companies. Delta Supply Company, I have to, give my hat off to Mr. Swire, because when I was there as well, he took me under his wing. He taught me everything in terms of managerial principles. He taught me, mentored me. I got my MBA on that job. They paid for it. They paid for it.
Best degree in the world.
Yes, they paid for it. I got a lot of courses, got a lot of experience. And when I say to people, your attitude determine your altitude. It doesn't matter where you start, is where you're sure you're going to end up, is where you keep your focus and have the best attitude ever. Because when I left that job after 10 years, it was a no-brainer. I got so many offers and I took BH Paints. And I'm the HR manager there for the last 5 years. So it was amazing. And the journey was not today. It was something that was meticulously worked on. It was something that I sacrificed because I had to forego some enjoyment so that I could ensure that, the gratification could be on hold. Yes. And I re-entered back the school life. I got some certification. I'm a international certified life coach and behavior coach. I'm a certified HR practitioner. I'm a certified speaker. So I got my certification in all of that. I'm also OSHA certified, occupational health and safety person. So I went and did that. I'm also fluent in Spanish. Yes, I went and did all that I felt that I needed to do because I knew where I started.
Well, this was prior to you knowing all of this.
And that is what prepared me for the now.
Yes.
So this is sometimes you don't know where the journey is taking you. Yes. You don't know absolutely where it's gonna go, but because you're in preparation mode, when the basket is becoming filled, there's no holes in it.
Yes, you know what I took away from the book? I tell you, this will not define me.
Absolutely.
I just found that to be a fascinating statement, relevant to the occasion and time. This will not define me. Explain to me, Madam Life Coach,
yes,
the importance of not being defined by others and circumstances.
Absolutely. In the intro of my book, I mentioned I've been called a lot of names. I've been called Marcia, Mariah, Skervin. I've been called JP. I've been called manager. I've been called friend, mommy. And one of the things that got me thinking and stood up and paid attention was the name cancer patient.
Yes.
And for me, that felt very strange. And so in terms of not having a cancer diagnosis define who I am, because I am not just a cancer patient. I'm not just a JP. I'm not just a mommy. I am somebody who is passionate about life. And if I allow my diagnosis and allow cancer to define me, then I'm going to use it as a crutch continually. And that's not my mandate.
Yes.
My mandate is to make sure that I soar. That is why learning to soar again. Because becoming undefined will keep you down. If you define yourself to a diagnosis, a thing, a person, you have to be able to live your authentic self. And because I chose not to be badged on, I told people I don't wear the cancer signs and I don't wear the badges and I don't wear that. And it's not that I don't support, because I more than ever know the fight. I've had it all my years. But I don't wear it because we get too complacent and we start defining ourselves by pink. We start defining ourselves by badges, and we start defining ourselves by month. And that doesn't work for me.
Yes.
I have to be outside of that box to help.
Yes. You said something else fascinating in there, that you don't want to be so positive that you're not realistic.
Absolutely. That's critical, because a lot of persons would say to me, am I delusional to being so positive constantly? Or are you not telling yourself the truth and hiding behind a smile? And the truth is, you cannot be positive that it clouds your reality. The reality is I was diagnosed with cancer. That's the reality. But I get to choose how I live, and I get to choose how to be. And because I get to choose that moment, I choose positive, I choose happy, I choose, everything that comes along with that. So my reality exists, but I'm not clouded by it into an unrealistic state.
Yes. Tell me, if you were to be in front of a large audience, men and women, what is the major takeaway from you with your experience? What would the guiding hand would you want to give in terms of awareness of cancer? What is it that you tell people to do?
I would definitely tell a self-check. You cannot rule out self-check. We don't have a formula to tell you that if you smoke 3 packs a day or you didn't or whatever. That's not even, it's relevant but not relevant because there's so much new cases of cancer coming out. There is a screening programs for the varying cancers. And so you do your pap smears, don't neglect them. Women, go get your pap smears. Men, go get the prostate check. And for the other persons with the breast, mammogram is there. There are blood screens. There are so much different things available to us now than what was there 20 years ago.
There's a second section, I think you call it the gems, what you'll walk away. I'd like you to read that for us, because as time alas has taken up.
So, in one of my jobs, it's in our attempts at trying to remain positive, it is important for us as cancer patients and survivors not to allow positivity to cloud reality. Making the decision meant claiming and asserting that my beauty lies within and that it was never my breast that defined me. Old beliefs and habits essentially have to die for you to be born again as a survivor. By telling, I started to see much more clearly that there is life beyond this, and if so many other strong women before me have done it, then so could I. It is important to accept instead of struggle against what is happening or what you are becoming. My scars taught me to be patient. They taught me not to be judgmental, and they taught me how to love me unconditionally. You have to know that your truest happiness will be found when you realize that you were born for a divine purpose. And though challenges will come, you can rest assured that it will all work out for best. Those are some of my gems in my book.
And we can't help but loving her. Do you know why? Because she loves herself so much. And we really want to thank her for loving us back by giving us her book, her template, her heart, and her soul. And that's it for Insight. Michael Sharp saying pleasant viewing.